Hello, we're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our ice cream painting class. So I am just signing on. I'm on my phone. I am signing on to Facebook right now. But this is a painting class because it is. I meant to do this last night, but the kids didn't go to bed. So this is officially our kickoff to summer since yesterday was the first official day of summer. All right. So I am going to be guiding you through this whole painting step by step. I'm going to tell you what brushes to use, when to use them, all the things. However, if you have a different size canvas, you'll see here, I actually have 2 different size canvases tonight. If you guys have a different size canvas, amazing. If you have, I brought out my favorite blocks. These are my favorite when it comes to anything like food kitchen related. They're so cute. You can hang them. I have like, if you want to do a triptych, which I'm going to tell you more about because we're actually, I'm gonna actually create a triptych, like 3 different ones that we're gonna sell as a kit. So we're just gonna teach one tonight, but it's so cute to have a ton of different ice cream cones all next to each other. There we go. The thing's a little, the phone is confusing. It looks, looks different than what I'm doing. Anyway, okay, let's get started. I'm multitasking and I can't speak, and that's always good. So I'm just gonna refresh here. So if you guys are here joining tonight, say hello. Make sure that you accept StreamYard. Otherwise, I won't know who you are. Okay, so I see people say hi everybody. But let me know who you are so I can see who's joining us tonight. And we miss you too. Whoever just said I miss you guys, we miss you too. People are coming back though. We are opening up a little bit more. So more news on that coming soon. But we're going to do a little reconstruction to our studio so that we can do painting, virtual shipping, which is what is happening right now, and also teach smaller groups. Okay? Hey, Jenny. All right, see if Jenny accepted us. So that's why I know it's her. Otherwise, it's a lot of different Facebook users. Allison, Brianne. Great. Hey, Allison, nice. I hope your move went well. Allison was moving and has had all her art stuff in storage. So okay, we're going to dive right in, okay? So tonight I'm using like a smorgasbord of brushes. I should say this original painting was painted on an 8x10 canvas. However, I don't have those in my house right now. So we're going to be using, this one is slightly bigger. This one I want to say is like a 9x12. So it's a little bit bigger. Hey, Rose, good to see you on here. This one's a little bit bigger. Same idea. All the proportions are going to be pretty similar. So this is also good to show you how we can take a painting that I teach you and we can make it different sizes. Okay. Margaret, happy Tuesday. Glad to have you here. Okay. The colors that I'm using tonight are my primaries, or not my primaries, our primaries. So I reuse palette paper over and over and over, which is why you're going to see my type non-A mess over here. All right. So we got white. We're going to be using a lot of white. Number 1 color. We have phthalo blue. I put green on here, but we're actually not using any green tonight. This is phthalo green. If you want to use it, fantastic. Chrome yellow. This is a burnt sienna brown and a bright red. Okay. Hi, Penny. Great to see everybody on here. These are all Blick paints. Those are my favorite. They are not an affiliate with us. They're just what we use. I like them the best. We don't use them all the time, but we do use them quite often. Okay. Now I'm going to use my baby brush. I'm going to use like a tiny little brush. This is our BB brush, and I'm going to use this. I think it's a number 2. All the brushes get used, and we never know the numbers anymore. I'm going to use this one to outline everything. So when I do something like this, I'm going to like to outline it, kind of paint the background, and then I'm going to paint inside. All right, so I'm going to hold it up really close so you guys can see. Put a lot of color in this one. I'm pretty psyched. When I think about not winter, when I think about summertime, I think about ice cream and watermelon. So when I asked people, I asked our members what they wanted to paint. And most everyone said either a popsicle or an ice cream cone. So I think we're doing well. All right, now we're going to take our baby brush, give it a little dunk into your water, tap it off, grab some paper towel. I should have done that ahead of time. This is what I've got. So we're working with something small. All right, so everyone take your baby brush, dip your brush into your water, tap it off. If you're painting with me live tonight, just say live. Otherwise, tell me what you're doing tonight. Are you making dinner? Are you sitting outside watching the rain? I don't know. Tell me what you're doing. I'm going to outline everything in my yellow. So in this painting, I really like the yellow. It's going to kind of show up around my painting. I'm okay with that. If you don't like that, you can always let it dry so it doesn't happen. But I would like you all to dip your baby brush into your yellow, so our chrome yellow. All right, now, no matter what your canvas size is, these proportions will work for you. Okay, so you're going to go right to the very center of your whole canvas and make a little polka dot. And Margaret, we love being your company. That's the best. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go from that dot, I'm going to go over just about an inch or so. So give or take, if you have a bigger canvas, you can make it a little bit wider. If you are not sure what an inch is and you're like, oh my God, where's my ruler? All good. We got you covered. If you take your pinky from knuckle to knuckle, we call this the paint bar inch. Okay, so this is about an inch. So I'm going to go from that point, I'm going to go about an inch on each side. All right, Rose just finished dinner and chilling with her kittens. Amazing. Penny, you're getting surgery tomorrow? What? I hope you're okay. I didn't know that. Well, I hope art can get you through. And we're sending you good, positive vibes. All right, now we're going to make a little line going over to the right. And we're going to do the same thing going to the left. Okay, so I'm actually going to make mine a little bigger. I want this to be a little over 2.5 inches. So I'm going to go something like this. Okay, I'm going to give it a little bit of an arch, kind of like a smiley face. All right, later today, I know Penny is in it's Abu Dhabi, right, Penny? I always forget where the actual location is. We're in very different time zones. And then I'm going to go to the bottom. We're going to make the cone. Now, even if you were painting the exact same size canvas, I would always say, with your finger, find where you want your cone to end before you make your dot. Okay, so everyone's painting is different. And oftentimes I might give you instruction and you might just like zone out your painting and only be listening to me. But look at what works for your painting. So if I came up just a little bit from the bottom, I'm going to make a dot like right in the center of the canvas. And Tina just saw this. Great to have you on here. Okay, yes. 3:15 a.m. Oh my God, Penny, go to sleep, lady. Oh my goodness. But we love having you on here. Okay, so now I'm going to make a triangle. She's amazing, up at all hours. I'm going to make a triangle like this. So this is going to be our ice cream cone. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make the bottom of our ice cream first. So whenever you're making any type of ice cream cone, you guys can get really creative. So you'll see all the different ones that I come up with that we're going to be putting out into. So the members, you guys are going to get this included in the membership, but then I'm also going to make a kit that you guys can purchase if people want to get instructions for all three. But you can see this is kind of like a outline for how we're going to make all different types of ice cream cones, which is pretty cool. All right, so we're going to start by making the bottom section, and they're going to be like little smiley faces. So what I'm going to do over here on the left, I'm going to make a little smiley face. They're kind of like little clouds. Hello, Ashley. Great to have you on here. All right, and then I'm going to make another one, and I want it to look like it's almost like rolling over. So I'm going to have it come down, make another little smiley face, and then I'm going to go back up. So everything is covering this top line. So we're actually never going to see that line again, the top of your cone. That was just there as a way to map out your whole painting. And then I'm going to make another little smiley face, okay? And then that one, you can have it come up a little higher, a little bit lower. And then I'm going to make a little, like almost like a backwards C shape on the right-hand side. And then on the left-hand side, I'm going to make a few little ones kind of coming up. All right, so you just want this to look really, I was just about to use the word scoopy. I wanted to look really scoopy. Is that even a word? I don't know. All right, now we're going to make a little smiley face connecting these. And we'll add in our drips later. We're not going to worry about our drips right now. And hello, I see more people are signing on. As you guys sign on, say hello. Let me know you're here. Let me know what you guys are doing. Are you at home? Are you eating ice cream? This is going to make you want to eat ice cream. Now, big secret, not a big secret. All the members who are watching here know I'm lactose intolerant. Don't eat any ice cream. But I actually have dairy-free gelato in the fridge right now, or freezer. So, and Margaret, I'm glad you like the word scoopy. I do too. All right, now the next thing we're going to do, just like the bottom, I'm going to map out where I want my ice cream cone to end. Now, if you get a really tall canvas, you guys could do like multiple scoops, right? Multiple scoops all stacked on top of each other. This one, we're just doing one scoop, but it is kind of fun to have multiple. So I'm going to go up here. I want to leave a little bit of space. So for this one, it's going to be a little bit more than an inch. So, depending on how big your canvas is, I want to leave a little bit more space than I had on the bottom. So I'm going to go something like that. All right. And then I'm just going to make it, scoops are not perfect circles. So I'm going to make it curved, but not a perfect circle. Sometimes they're perfect, I guess, if you have a perfect scooper. All right, now I'm going to make it come out a little bit. There we go. This is looking good. Now, can you imagine how cool it would be if you had like 3 of these lined up next to each other, or a whole wall with all different flavors? So in the messages, can you guys tell me what your favorite type of ice cream is? So let me know your favorite type of ice cream. Mine is, I have a lot of favorites. I would say mint Oreo is my favorite. And then vanilla Plain vanilla with sprinkles, also my favorite. And then I also love peanut butter. I love peanut butter ice cream too. So, and now there's a lot of dairy-free ones, which are pretty much crushing the dairy-free game. All right, now we're going to take this baby brush. I'm going to put it in my water. Okay, coffee Oreo. Great choice, Brienne. Love that. And I'm going to use my medium brush. So I'm going to use my medium brush to paint this background. If you have a brush like this, fantastic. It's, I think in real world, it's called filbert brush. Otherwise, you guys can use any big brush. You can use a big brush. You can use a square brush. Looks like we have a few people for coffee Oreo or coffee ice cream. Whoa, so many coffees. Butter pecan. Hi, May. Butter pecan is also my husband's. And vanilla. Yeah, all great choices. Great choices. May just got married. May, tell us what kind of desserts you had at your wedding. Now in the background here, we're going to paint the whole background. I'm going to use the smallest amount. So it looks a little tinted greenish. It's not like as bright a blue. It's not green in here though. I did pour green on here by accident, just out of habit. But this is actually a little bit of my yellow mixed in with some of the blue and the white. So I'm going to start off. So I'm going to start off taking my medium brush. I'm going to do a little tiny bit of my blue. Blue here, and then like a scoop of my white. You're going to use a hefty amount of the white for this painting. And then you guys are going to paint. And if you really look at my painting, you can see so many brush strokes. So see how it's moving in all different directions? When I paint, I love to see lots of brush strokes. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go like this. And you can notice here, I want you to, I'm going to put them side by side. Look how bright blue that is versus this more muted blue. Okay, it's more of a green muted blue. To get that more muted color, we're going to add in a tiny bit of our yellow. All right, I'm going to get more of my white. I'm just going to let it all mix on the canvas. All right, now that's a little bit more yellow than I want. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to get a little bit more blue. I'm going to get a nice big scoop of my white. And the more paint you use, the easier it's going to be to mush everything around. So like this. Okay, now I'm holding it, but which makes painting the sides difficult. But I always recommend that while you're painting the painting, you also paint your sides and you do it at the same time. And the reason for this, which our members helped me kind of realize, is that it's really hard to recreate that color if you do the whole front and then come back and do your sides. It's just hard to recreate that color if you want to do it a real gallery wrap. So you always can come back later, but we like to do it while we're painting the front. So Margaret, Brigham's, yes, all good. And you think the only thing I like marshmallows in. Oh, do you? And Tina says she loves mint chocolate chip, and Tina's a vanilla or chocolate kind of gal. So Margaret, do you like s'mores? Big question. If you only like marshmallows in your ice cream, which I think fish food is like the ice cream that has marshmallows. My husband is a big ice cream guy, so I live vicariously through him. And he tells me I see all the flavors through him. Ben & Jerry's is limited on their dairy-free, but they're getting much better. Many more options now. Also, if you start seeing sweat dripping down, it's because it's really hot in my studio right now. It's pretty hot here in Boston. Okay, so I'm using big scoops, a little bit of my blue, a little bit of my white, lots of brush strokes, different directions. All right, now, do we have anyone else on here who likes to dip pretzels into their ice cream? So this is like, I love doing this, or French fries, something salty. And I just taught this to my 2-year-old the other day. And now that's like all he wants to do after dinner. I actually did it, I'm not going to lie, I did it before dinner. I'm just going to be honest with you all. I let him have ice cream right before dinner last week. And now he is obsessed. So it's a special treat. We don't do it often, but sometimes we do. Right, so here it is. You can see this part's a little more yellow, so it doesn't need to be perfectly painted all the way around. Okay, so a little bit of blue with my white. All right, almost done with the background, and then we're going to move to what's called the foreground, which is our ice cream cone. Okay, excellent. All right, now I want to see a few more brush strokes of just white in here. So, Nicole, how are you? I'm glad that you love my yummy stack. But now Charlie's into dipping everything. So tonight he was dipping his pretzels into lemonade. My mom, she like mixes a little bit of lemonade in with like seltzer water, soda water. So I think it's just the dipping part is just really fun. Okay, so I'll do the top as well while we're at it. All right, and the nice thing is, so like, let's see how this blue is a different color than my front. Because I did everything at one time and it's all still really wet, I'll just take my brush and kind of pull it down so that it mixes in. And then the last thing we're going to do is just a little bit at the bottom, just like that. Okay. All right, there we go. Rose likes pretzels with chocolate. Those are fantastic, Rose. Definitely. I love that too. And throw in a little bit of peanut butter and we're talking now. All right. So now I'm going to put this down. And the next thing we're going to do, I actually start off by painting my cone. So I'm going to move on to my round brush. And the round brush looks something like this. So it's rounded all the way around and it comes together on top. All right. So I'm going to take this round brush. I'm going to give it a little dunk into my water, tap it off, wipe it off. Now, today we're using a color called burnt sienna. But you can easily make this color if you have the primaries, if you have the best, easiest way I found to teach it is by using red and yellow, making like an orange and a tiny, tiny bit of the black, and then you mix in some white. So you do not need to have brown in order to do this, but I am using burnt sienna brown. I'm going to use a little bit, and then I'm going to use I'm going to use some white as well. All right, now I'm going to mix everything on my canvas. I'm just going to pre-mix a little bit to make sure I'm on the right page with the colors that I'm using. So a little bit of the brown, like that, okay? So it's not totally mixed because I love to see the brush strokes. I want to see the streaks of the different colors, but I like to know I'm just at least on the right page. Okay, so now I'm going to take this brush, and I'm just going to outline what I did here, my yellow. And if the yellow is still a little bit wet and it mixes in, fantastic. That's totally okay. And the background's probably a little wet too, so just kind of let everything mix together. So a little bit of this brown with some white, and I'm going to go right around here. I'm just going to fill the whole thing in. So I'm going to take a little bit more brown and my white. I'm just going to mix it right on the canvas. All right, now I'm going to cover the whole thing. You don't want to see any white showing unless you're intentionally doing like a dry brush technique. But I always recommend to cover the whole canvas. Usually when you see that white, unless it's intentional, it generally means that you're just not using enough paint. So just throw a little bit more paint on there. Okay. And then let me just go over here. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm just going to be a little perfectionist there. There's our cone. So I want it to be a lighter color so when we make our lines for our waffle cone, which like, have you guys ever been to White Mountain? I forget if I just asked you that. White Mountain makes the best waffle cones. Shout out to White Mountain. It's right near BC. It's unbelievable. Everyone needs to try them. Sometimes my mom and I just buy them and then we have them as like dessert all the time. Now, we're going to use that same round brush. I love the round brush when making food or when making, what else do I use it for? I use it for flowers all the time. So it's my favorite brush when it comes to making flowers. And now we're going to use, I'm going to make like a strawberry. I also like strawberry. I like strawberry with usually chocolate sprinkles, but I just thought this was really colorful, which is why I did the bright colors today. So I'm going to use my red and white, and I might need to get a little bit, I'm going to get a little more white on my palette. So let's see here. Is it easier just to pour from the bottle? It is. I have a big jug. Okay. So usually when I paint, or what I recommend for newbies especially, is I like to have like 2 piles of white. So one is for your background. It's kind of like you're mixing white. And then if you need clean white, you have a new pile. So I'm going to take my red and my white. And then I might even throw in like a tiny tad, littlest bit of my yellow. So like you barely can even see it on my brush, but I throw a little bit in there just so it's like a little bit tinted. It makes it a little more interesting. So the first thing I always do is I like to just outline my space. Okay, so I'm going to go over all my streaks from before. And if my yellow shows through, fantastic. I love that. All right, so I'm going to go right over everything. There we go. I'm just going to fill it in. So whenever I paint, I do lots of layers. So I'm not worried about this being my final end all, right? I'm just getting the color on my canvas. The best thing I've ever learned, and I always tell our members this, is to cover the entire canvas. So cover everything, and then you can always come back and do the details, right? So I'm going to cover everything here. And you guys can see it looks a little different than my original, right? The shape's just a little bit different. And I added in a little bit more color and some highlights. So what I did is I made it a little bit more red down here. So I'm just adding a little bit more red. I'm layering it on top, lots of quick little brush strokes. And then I'm going to add a little bit more white. And I'm going to even put a little bit of yellow. So a little more yellow and some white up top. Gorgeous. All right, now put a little more red over here. So it's nice to do this while the paint is still wet. And this is a humid night here, so it'll take a little bit longer to dry, but if it's a dry night, it might dry really fast. So just kind of keep that in mind. I moved pretty quickly to fill all this in, but you get a nice little gradation of color. All right, now I'm going to come to this bottom section. Do the same thing I just did up top. So I'm doing a little bit of my red with my white. And also, you can always come back to the top, so don't feel like you have to perfect it. Okay, so I'm going to come in a little bit of that yellow mixed in, which is fantastic. Use a little bit more red here, so it's a little darker in some areas. And okay, now I also have a lot of white on there, and what you can see is all the little white streaks kind of popping out. So I like to see the white streaks too. Basically, I just love to see brush strokes. I want to see, I don't want it to be flat. And there are some beautiful paintings where the painting is kind of more monotone and more flat, and that's beautiful. But when I paint, I like to really see my colors. So now I've put it on there. I'm going to come back. I'm going to add in a little bit more of the red in some areas, just letting it mix in just a little bit. Coming over here, down here, up here. Okay, that's good. I'm going to just play around a little bit more up here. So I like to see some lines. We're going to come back with a red highlight later, but I like this bottom part, like bottom left towards the bottom, to be a little bit darker. So that means I'm adding in more of my pink or more of my red. And then I'm just going to add a little bit down here. Okay. It's hard to know when to stop, right? But I'm going to keep us going along. We can always come back. So take this brush, put it in the water. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my cone details. So I'm going to take out my baby brush again. So it's in your water currently. It's what we use to outline your ice cream cone. You're going to clean it off. The best way to clean it off is to let it like really hit the bottom of the cup and just kind of scrub it around a bunch. Then I'm going to dip it into my brown. And the first thing I'm going to do is, like, when you look at a waffle cone, it folds over. So I am going to make, it's coming like a little bit off center. So from the right-hand side, come over about an inch or so. And then from there, we're going to make a curve that comes down. Okay, now this curve can be anywhere because depending on where you're looking at the cone, it may be more on one side or the other. So it doesn't really matter where you put this. But then I'm going to make some diagonal lines. But before even doing that, I'm going to do what we call the plop and pull. After Legally Blonde's bend and snap, you guys are going to plop and pull. Just give me a little outline. So like this. And then I'm going to come over here on this side. All right, so this just gives it a little outline. So now it's nice and defined. Doesn't that even look pretty on its own? So you could just leave it like this if you wanted to and do like multiples of all the same color. I mean, all different colors, but same cone. And then this one, I'm going to do a few diagonal lines. And don't worry about them having paint going down the entire way. Like if they run out of paint a little bit, that's okay. If they're not perfectly evenly spaced apart, also okay. And then I'm going to go on the other diagonal going up all to the side. All right, so a little cone action happening there. And then on this one, I'm not even worried. So I kind of think of it as two sections, like here and then over here. I'm not worried about them matching up. So over here, I'm just going to do a few diagonal lines like that, and then a few lines coming down. And there is our cone. I kind of made it hard to differentiate the fold, but that's okay. All right, does anyone here like the cone more than the ice cream? Because I might. I think I do. I love the cone. I love basically anything that's bread. So cone wins. Now I'm going to add a few before we add in sprinkles, let's make this look like it's melting, okay? So I'm going to take my baby brush, I'm going to clean it off, and I want my ice cream to look kind of drippy. So I'm going to take this brush, and I'm going to do a little bit of my red and some of my white, and I'm just going to extend this right-hand side down. Okay, so I'm going to come from this right-hand side, I'm going to retrace it, and then I'm just going to have it kind of loop down like that, like a ribbon almost. And then I'm going to come from this side and also have it come down. And May just wrote a whole explanation about her wedding cake, which I'm like really excited to read right now. But first I'm going to finish teaching you this. So you could do this with the round brush if you feel like the baby brush is too much of a different brush stroke, which might happen. But I'm going to use my red and my white. So I have a little bit of a squiggle, right? So it's kind of coming down, it's starting to drip. I'm going to bring us down a little bit more so it's less of a really big squiggle. And then I'm going to have a few little drips coming down. So drips are just like little blobs. So don't overthink them. Little blobs. They're kind of like ovals that take on new shape. And you can add as many as you want. Here, I'll add one more. Like that. Okay? All right, now we're going to put a cherry up here in the right-hand corner. So I'm going to take this brush. I already have a little white on it. I'm just going to wipe it off. I'm not even going to clean the whole thing. And I'm going to dip it into my red. And we're going to start with just a red cherry, but we're going to add a little bit of blue so you get, again, like a little bit of color variation. So it's not perfectly red. And I'll show you on mine. Check it out. See, there's a little color variation on there. Oh my God, I want ice cream so bad right now. I'm going to go to the top right-hand corner, and I'm going to make mine about, I always say, like, aim for the size of a nickel, and that way when it gets a little too big, it'll be the size of a quarter, and then you've nailed it. So we should just say May just got married. So she had a 3-tier cake. Oh, my God. Each shares a different flavor, vanilla sponge with strawberry compote, chocolate cake with chocolate ganache, and an Oreo layer with, oh, my God, Oreos baked in. It was to die for. Sorry. Okay, that's totally okay. And Margaret loves a cone dipped in a bit of chocolate. I'm with you. Actually, Margaret, I'm not with you. I like it plain. But I do. They always look so pretty when they have chocolate and like dipped in nuts if you're not allergic to nuts. All right, so now I'm going to, so when I make details, I hold my brush by the middle using my pinky here. I'm going to make a circle. I'll move it to you guys in a second so you can see. I just want to make sure I don't do it lopsided, which is what happens when I paint sideways. Okay, so I make the circle first, and I'm going to fill it in. And you can see there's a lot of paint on there. I'm going to add a tiny little bit of the blue on my brush right now. And that little bit of blue, I'm just going to lightly kind of mix into some parts of it, kind of towards the bottom. I'll bring it really close. Because I want it to be a little bit off color. I want to see a little bit of interest in my cherry. All right, so it's a little bit darker in some areas. And then I'm going to wipe my brush off again. And we're going to start to add in some sprinkles. And I'm also going to add in some highlights with the red. So while I have the red on my brush, I'm going to do all the red things first. So that's what I like to do. If I have a color on my brush, I like to do as much as I can with that color. And then we move on to another color. So I'm going to do a little plop and pull, like a little highlight around my edges with my red. So it really stands out. Come down here, a little smiley face. And then I'm going to come over here like this. And I'm going to do a little bit over here. So I'm just kind of coming into my ice cream a little bit, making a few little lines just to make everything stand out a little bit better. I'm not going to do too much because we have a lot going on in this painting and we don't need too much of a highlight, but that's about it. So what you guys can see is that it just everything kind of shows up a little bit better. And there's a little bit more of a highlight, right? And then I'm going to take this brush in the red. I'm going to make some red sprinkles. So to make the sprinkles, I'm holding my brush by the middle. I use my pinky to support my hand. And I just do these tiny little lines. Okay, so, they're controlled. They're going all different directions. My type A is watching. I know you guys are going to create like a checkerboard with these. So just make sure they go in all different directions and they're not perfectly placed. All right, don't overthink it too much. I do put them towards the top. And then I have, because that's like if you were to sprinkle on ice cream cone, they kind of hit the top. However, when I go to get ice cream, I ask them just to roll the whole thing. Sometimes I've even ordered a side cup of sprinkles so I can keep redunking because I really love some sprinkles with my ice cream. So I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to keep adding a few more. All right. And I don't want them to go straight across, right? I have some areas come a little bit lower. And then I'm also going to put a little bit down here. All right, so it's almost like they've hit the top of the scoop. And then I'm also going to have a few kind of sprinkled on the bottom. So the sprinkle on the bottom was the last thing I decided to add. Totally not necessary if you don't want it. I think it livens it up. It looks kind of fun. It's kind of like a, I don't know. a sprinkle snowbank. I'm not sure. It looks cute. And true story, the other night I was trying to, I was eating a little bit of ice cream for myself, and I just wanted some sprinkles on it. And I had just opened the container, so I just made a little hole in the top plastic. But then I shook too hard, and then that, you know, the big tubs that you get at the supermarket, like I had a big tub of sprinkles, and they just went all over the floor. And it's kind of a catastrophe, but it also looks beautiful at the same time. So not the worst thing in the world to happen, right? So there we go. We have our red sprinkles to start. And now I'm going to choose another color. So I'm going to take my baby brush. I'm going to clean it off in my water. All right, on here, I'd like a vote, please. Are you a rainbow sprinkle fan or a chocolate sprinkle? So in the comments, just write rainbow sprinkles or chocolate sprinkles. Let's see which ones people like. Now I'm going to take my yellow, and I'm just going to do a bunch with the yellow. So same thing I just did before. A few little yellow. I would say I am more sprinkles. I'm more rainbow, I think. They just look so pretty. So chocolate sprinkles, rainbow. All right, we have a tie. Who else will comment and let us know what they like? And also it depends on what ice cream I'm having it with. So if it's just vanilla, then just rainbow sprinkles. But if it's like a fruit, then I like chocolate sprinkles. So, but Margaret likes that's better. Okay, rainbow looks like it's taking the lead. Whoa, over chocolate. I don't think I anticipated that. All right, now I'm going to add more sprinkles down here. I also love Heath Bar. Anyone else here like Heath Bar on theirs? I like Heath Bar. What else do I like? Or Oreos, clearly. Reese's Pieces. Those are also so good on ice cream. And I want to know how many of you are going to go eat ice cream after this because you're hungry like I am now. And I have my sprinkles come up a little bit. All right, so they're not all at the bottom. And I probably should have added a few red ones over there. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to dip it in here. I'm going to add a few little red ones right on top. I actually just did one. All right, now I'm going to clean the brush off again. So I'm going to scrub it around the bottom of my cup. And I'm going to add some blue and some white. So a little bit of blue and white. And on here, I think I just have red, yellow, and blue. And then I add some white ones. And then we're almost done with this cute painting. How cute is this? Isn't this a fun, fast, and cute painting? So I make my blue a little bit of a light blue. Otherwise, it's just too dark on my painting because this is such a lively, light and airy painting. But I want to make sure that's darker than the background. So keep that in mind when you're making these bottom ones, that it shows up against the background. And you may have to pre-mix it just to make sure. Like these can use a little bit more blue. It's getting a little bit too light. Awesome. There we go. It's coming along. Okay. Rose says, I like peanuts and my ice cream with chocolate syrup. That sounds amazing, Rose. And Margaret, I do want an Oreo fruit roll or blizzard right now. I'm going to hit up some DQ, Margaret, huh? On your way home, or if you're at home, just, is Uber Eats doing some DQ delivery? Dairy Queen delivery? All right, last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some white highlight and white sprinkles, okay? So I'm taking my baby brush, and I'm going to do a few little sprinkles. Oh, wait, I also forgot the stem of my cherry. We'll do that last. All right, so I'm going to do some white sprinkles everywhere. And let's do some down here. Excellent. I'm going to do a few on the bottom here. All right, and then last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add some white, last thing before I add my cherry. Yeah, I'll come back to that. Okay, so I'm also going to make a little highlight here, like a little curved line on my cherry to give it like a little glisten. You want it to sparkle. And Margaret isn't working from home. Both friendlies or DQ are easily 10. Oh, amazing. Perfect. That's perfect. All right, so now I'm going to do a little plug and pull action around the side. So I want it to look like it has a little highlight. This is our signature paint bar move. So we add a little bit of white everywhere. And even down here, I'm gonna do another one over here. And let's add some down here. Okay. Man, if I could just paint ice cream all day, I'd be a happy girl. Look how fun that is. And then I'm also gonna come into my cone. And I'm just gonna go in here. I'm just gonna add some highlights. It's my curve, right, where the flap happened. And then I'm gonna do a few little highlights here. So I kind of accentuated that a little bit more because I wanted to stand out. Making these a little bit lighter. The way I'm making them lighter is I just have less paint on my brush and just like a lighter brush stroke. And then also on this side, just adding a few. All right, there's our cone. And the last thing we need to do is we need to add the cherry stem. So what I'm gonna do, this is so fun. I'm gonna take this brush, I'm gonna wipe it off. And you can use black or you can use blue and a little bit of your brown, which is what I did. So I used some of my blue and some of my burnt, I did like equal parts of blue and the burnt sienna, which is gonna make a really dark brown that almost looks black. And then I'm gonna go to the top here, and this is the scary part because it's so exact. You're gonna go up and you're gonna make almost like a little hook, a candy cane. All right, so we're gonna go up on a diagonal and candy cane. Check it out. If you want to get really fancy, you can do a little swirl. And that is it. There is my ice cream cone, everyone. All right, so probably tomorrow I'm gonna do a recording. We're gonna have a triptych it's called, 3 ice cream cones all next to each other. So cute. And you guys, if you wanna, if you wanna follow along and do that with me, you can do that. And then we'll make sure we add those into our membership. If you're not part of our membership, you gotta get on the wait list, which you can do through thepaintbar.com. On the top, you'll see a little membership bar. And I'd love you to join. Get on the wait list, join our little fam. We'll be reopening it sometime in the next few months. But right now, we're just focusing on being together. Okay? Everyone, have a great rest of your night. Happy summer. And I hope to see you all again really soon. It was great to have everybody on here. And now I'm going to go and eat some ice cream. All right. Bye, everyone. Good night or good morning if you're watching a different time of day. All right. See ya.